I need to start recording. All right. So let's take a little bit look at what we're doing when we enter each element. I'm going to go through this again. When we make changes to the character for each field, so the character name, the gender, here's the select for gender, the age is a normal text area, and the status is 2 radio buttons, both with the name character status. And so we've got these 4 fields, right? And we can change this to Hermione Granger. On change, you can see it saves to session storage, each value. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. We'll make her female and make her a wizard. Those all get saved here to session storage. Now, the difference between local storage and session storage is that session storage disappears when my browser is closed. For instance, like this. Oops, I didn't want a new terminal. I wanted a new tab in the terminal so that I can open my development server. Nope, it's wanting to pin it on that other browser window. Okay, so we've got it here. We'll bring back our dev tools so we can see that better. All right, so session storage, you can see now, is empty. Local storage still, well, it doesn't have the person object in here. So let's go ahead and apply. We'll watch what happens, right? We'll do Neville, he's a male. Is it Neville Longbottom? I think so. He's the same age as Harry. He's a wizard. So we add all these things to session storage. We don't have anything in local storage yet. We click send application. We go to our console. So we've got these, it's saving the character to session storage. So we've got all these update character events called. And then we clicked send application right here. Again, it gets the module, the person module. That's this here, the file person .js. So we have a couple of constants here: gender, male and female, category, magical or muggle. But the class person takes a constructor, name, age, gender, and magical or status. We might change that to status, actually. That's probably a good idea. Well, no, magical, true or false. So I don't think we're actually using these categories. We are for gender, we're validating. And then we've just got some getters. It splits the name up to get all names. So if you have get first name, it will get Neville. If you have get last name, it will split on the space and return Longbottom. We don't have any logic for multiple names. We assume that the spaces denote first and last name. If you have middle names, it'll ignore your middle names. If you have 2 first names, like Jean-Paul, or 2 last names like De La Hoya, it's not going to work with that yet. You can get the salutation. In other words, if the person is a male, we'll call him Mr. Longbottom. If it's a female, we'll call it Ms. Granger. And then if they're magical, we'll get their type or their status, which is Muggle or wizard, or if they're a female, a wizard or a witch. A wizard for a male, a witch for a female. And then we have these other types that make it easier to create a person. A Muggle extends a person, but it always returns false for magical, and it actually removes that property. Wizard kind, which means wizard or witch, also extends person. It's the opposite of a Muggle. Magical is always true, and they have a list of spells and potions that may be added. Starts out empty. You have these other functions to cast a spell and brew a potion. These aren't implemented yet. We might add some comments here. And what will happen is when you try to cast a spell or brew a potion, for a normal user will also have another thing, which is use item. And maybe it's a key that opens a lock, or I don't know, a sandwich that you eat. But this is another function we're going to add. So console log to implement use item. And any person can use an item. Anyone can turn a key. Only a wizard or witch, of course, can cast a spell. So let's add this function to person. All right, so we've got the use item. A muggle, like I said, can eat a sandwich or open a lock, provided they have the key. And all of these functions, these are all of a type that they have a chance of succeeding or failing. If you use an item, if you try to open a lock with the wrong key, it'll fail. If you try to jump over a mud puddle, there is a chance of failure, and we'll use probability. Much like a role-playing game, there will be a probability of success. Say to jump over a puddle that is 5 feet long, you have a default probability of 50% chance of success, but then modified based on your skills. If you are a good jumper, then you might have a 75% or a 95% chance of success jumping over that. Anyway, we'll implement those things later on, but right now we're indicating that you can do that, just like casting a spell. I guess depending on your pronunciation skills, you might be able to cast Wingardium Leviosa on your first try, or it might take multiple tries, depending on if you're Hermione or Ron, for instance. Okay, so we've got wizard and witch. Both of those are a magic user or a wizard kind. And what we do here, so far, all we've got is, all it does is it eases with creation. If you create a wizard, all you need is a name and an age, because we know a wizard is a male and they're magical. A witch likewise is a female and she's magical. So we call super, which is the constructor for the parent class, in this case, wizard kind. And wizard kind also extends person. The wizard kind constructor calls super on person. Muggle also calls the super the constructor for person, and it passes in the extra argument. I hope that makes sense. And I suppose what we need for person is we need to initialize items, since we have use items. So let's go ahead and do that. I have inventory. Sure, we'll keep it at inventory instead of items for now. All right, getting back to our application, because all these game elements are fine, our application is not working. Okay, so Ron is a male. He's 11 and he's a wizard. We've got everything saved to session storage. We're going to send the application. All right, and let's see what we've got broken here. So what it does, send application. Let's look at that in application.js. So that was the other thing I wanted to show, is I've moved all the JavaScript. Need to close some windows down. Let me check the chat to see if there's anything, because it looks like I had my sound off. All right, so we're good. Okay, so apply.html references the script apply.js. And I think what I want to do here is I want to refactor this. I want to keep the case similar, and it looks like it is. What I want to distinguish in JavaScript, just to use this as a convention, if it's a module, I will capitalize it. If it's just a regular script file, like apply.js, then then I will keep it lowercase. Okay, so we have 3 functions, 2 that we care about, and 1 that that they use to retrieve the character, which we haven't implemented yet. So update character, save session storage. We've seen that plenty of times. Send application. That's not working right now, I believe. We'll check our local storage. Oh, it is working. We do have it. We have our fields, character, name, gender, age, etc. And then we have, in local storage, we have the person object. And I think what we want is we want let person to equal local storage dot get item, and we called it player character. All right. And the reason I think this is async is because we need to await import person.js. And rather than make this async, I think I'm going to do it the other way. So what I'll do is I'll do an import function. Then when we return a promise, we actually, no, I want to go back to async here because then I can deal with my content out of it. And there's one thing I want to show that's kind of tricky and kind of annoying. And that is we'll see in the send module. So we have here in send application, we await import person, and then it returns the module. So what we could do is like this. We've got the module, and that's why we see in our console here. Let's save this and see if we broke anything. Expected expression. Yes. Let's try loading this again, see if we got an error. All right, aborted on application. That's okay. Application, we don't care about. But we have sending application, our console log statement here on line 34. And then we have the module, for console.log, the module, and the module is person. The person module is being loaded. And then we get person.person. So what we could do alternately is we could, so what we're doing is we're wrapping our await block here, and then we're getting this. And then we shouldn't get the module, we should get the class within the module. Let's go ahead and try that. It works. So it says class person here. So that's how we can get an object in our module. But let's go ahead and be more explicit here. Now, the other way we can handle that is we can, because we're exporting multiple things here, we could do export default person, and then we can import that person class directly. So this is probably not a good example of how best to do it. In our apply.js, I need to, it keeps thinking it's uppercase, so I'm going to change the spelling on there. just to trick it, because Macs don't really understand case sensitivity as well as I'd like. All right, now we've got it lowercase. Okay, so back to where we're going, send application. Now what we're doing is we're retrieving this information from the session storage, which strictly isn't necessary, right? We could be getting it from the form itself, but this way it can retrieve it if we, for instance, this is all blank, but I believe I should have it still in the session storage. Yeah. So if for some reason you refresh your screen or go back, your form is going to be empty, but you can still send an application. What we might want to do in the future is, if these fields exist in session storage, auto-populate them. Let's think about how we would do that. We would need to do something on load, right? So we could do body on load, or we could do a script. So let's do a script tag, just keep it cleaner. And then what we would do is we would document add event listener on load. Wait, what is it? Is it like, I was thinking it was body content loaded. Let's see, document events JS. Okay, so load, unload. DOM content loaded. That was the phrase I was looking for. We'll just do onload. And then what we do is we add a function. We're passing a function to this add event listener. So onload, we're going to do this, and we'll start off simple. Loaded. Okay, we'll use an @ sign instead of an exclamation point. All right, so we should be able to there we go. So it didn't work on load, but it did work on DOM content loaded. I guess because it's already loaded. That's to distinguish it. All right, there we go. We've got loaded. Okay, so we've got our alert. What we want to do for our debugging purposes now, we might remove this console logging in the future, but because I want to illustrate what's happening. So I want to load character data. Let's try this. Go to console, hit refresh, loading character data. Okay, so we go to our, we're going to borrow this from send application for now, and we'll probably move this into the apply.js. Actually, let's move this in right now. No reason to clutter this up. At the bottom, and we will use that function. Now we don't put the parentheses. We're passing in the function. We're not executing the function now. Whereas before we were defining function. Okay. Let's call it get character data from session because it's not a long enough name yet. All right. Get character data from session, in which we will load the character data. We're getting all these, and let's check it out. We need to be consistent. I've got status, I've got type, and I've got magical. Now we can, this function just add, or this function call add event lister just specifies where we're at and what function we're going to call. Passes in the function as a parameter because functions are objects. Let's see, I've got a quote problem in here based on my where's my error? Oh, it's got the wrong type of quote, I think. No? Where's my error? Some simple syntax error. Oh, it's up here. We need a double parentheses. We're wrapping our array. Oh, we need to remove the parenthesis because we're not wrapping it. We were going to do that in our retrieve character, but we don't need to. All right. And let's disable this for now, this application error. We don't need to see that. So we're getting character from session data, and we're going to populate it. So we're going to find our items. Well, we'll just inspect them to find out. I should character name, character gender, character age, and character, what is it, status type, character status. All right. Oh, and I've got the values right here. So let's check it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to document. We're going to do the query selector, and then we'll do pound or number sign for the ID. Age, gender. Let's keep them in the same order that they are visually. So we could also do document get element by ID, but in case these change to not ID, then we need status. All right, so we load that. And so the status isn't loading. All these others populated automatically. And the reason is because we need to get the
That's
first
the radio button, right? And then we
yeah,
have
and there
to.
are two elements. Oh, and it doesn't have well, it does have an ID, but we need character status Muggle or character status Wizard. We need to select the right one. So we need some logic. Thank you. All right. So if and we may run into issues with the selector if status equal Muggle. character status. Okay. JavaScript set radio. Yeah, I think it's checked equals true or value equals checked. I'm the type of thing that I can't always remember. Checked equals true. Okay. Checked equals true instead of value equals true. Okay. What are we specifying for our status? Let's look at what status says.
Why we keep if else if we can keep only if and else, right?
Yeah. There's just for possibility for other things.
We will be adding it up.
Oh, we've got a broken code, so it's not going to work. We're going to have to check. All right. We've got another issue here. I don't know if that's, maybe that's just an editor issue. No. Let's be explicit here.
No, I think since this is a function, so I'm not sure. Maybe the JavaScript requires one more braces in the end of the function. That's what I know.
So we have, yeah, we've got somewhere we've got a braces issue, but it's finding that. So you see all the.
Yeah, it's finding at function end, right? Where we see else and then at the end. Can you put a circular brace there and then a I think semicolon? I'm not sure, but yeah, let's try that.
A semicolon here?
No, not semicolon here. I think in the end we would need. I'm not sure. Let's see. Circular brace and then wait. Are we missing on something?
So look, I closed it and reopened it and it's working. And I know
right.
something's going on with Visual Studio Code's cache, because what I saw was apply.js had a capital A again after I explicitly renamed it. So that's what's happening, is it's the cache of the editor is doing something weird.
Yeah, right.
All right. Now we got to get more consistent in my code. All right, so let's see. Okay, so it reloaded, and look, it's Ron Weasley, male, 11, wizard. So what if we go here and we change this to Muggle? And then we reload it, and it changes to Muggle here. If we change his age to 13, and we reload our page, it changes his age to 13. We're doing good here. Changes to female, and we can change it to Luna. What is it? Lovejoy? Lovegood? I don't remember. What's her name? Harry Potter. What is her name? Lovegood, not Lovejoy. I was close. Forgive me, Luna. All right, Luna Lovegood, one of my daughter's new favorite characters, and she hasn't even seen the movie. Just we've told stories about the different, as I'm trying to get this game started, I'm also coming up with scenarios for bedtime stories when I tell my children, and my oldest son is reading Harry Potter 5. He may have finished it already, and I think Luna's introduced in there, and so I'm hearing more about the story from him, and I'm relaying elements from the book into my other daughter's bedtime stories. Anyway, so now we've got it so that if we have information in session storage, it's going to repopulate it. If it's and that's one reason to use session storage instead of local storage, because local storage is going to persist until it's cleared. Now, the one downside I see is when we save our player in local storage, it doesn't give us a way to inspect it. So this is a DevTools issue. It's not really an issue, it's just a limitation. All right. So our send application, we're not ready to implement that yet, because the next thing we want to do is we want to retrieve the character. Actually, I don't know if we need that. We might refactor that out, but I think get character data from session storage is doing what we wanted to do there. And what we can do is well, perhaps what we want to do is what I want to do is abstract the getting the data from session storage with the data populated. Maybe a quick rename is all I need to do. See, here we've got a typing issue. That is so weird. I wonder if our code is broken or just our editor. It looks like our code's working. And notice it's capital apply.js again. I might be in for a reboot. Or maybe it's a Visual Studio Code bug or a Mac bug. Okay, so we've got this populate character data from session storage. We've got our send application, but we're not actually sending it. We're just getting it. So let's, we've got all this duplicated, right? So let's, okay, now I want to go back to, I want to use my person object. So in the get character data, right, we can have the populate character data separate. So and we're going to get a person. And so this one is going to return a function, right? So and we want to await. Image, gender, status. And then let's console log. Well, and we don't want it. Okay, there we go. We've got let player equal new person. and then console.log player, and then return player. Now what I don't know is I'm importing this module in this function. Is that only going to be scoped there? And how am I going to do this? Do I need to import that outside? There's that typing issue again, that capital A. Uh-huh.
I just saw that. It's very strange.
Yeah, and it's back again every time I save. Here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my terminal and see if it's like a cached file or something. No. I'm going to quit Visual Studio Code. I have at least 2 other editors open because that's annoying. Oops.
Happening when you're actually saving that file, as in whatever changes you're making, and then saving it, and then it's going back to
Yeah.
the last name that you have given. I think it's Visual Studio Code issue then.
Yeah, and that's why I'm hoping closing down Visual Studio Code will take care of it. Look at that. That's like blinking. Huh. Oh my goodness, unable to open apply.js. Oh. I'm freaking out a little bit here. All right, where are we at? Okay, so new session. Await is only valid in async function. Where are we at? Oh, it's not an async function because we just added that. We don't need that there. We need it up here. Get character data, person module, person. It's kind of annoying how you have to load the whole module, but that's the way it is. Okay, so we want to check here that we're getting our player, we're creating a player object, and that we're getting the information from session storage. So let's reload again. We still have an error on line 41. Oh wait, I should have said async. '79. I don't think that's going to work then. Okay. Okay, so we're running into this chicken and egg problem with JavaScript. Okay. Let's do it the other way. What we'll do, instead of await and async, we'll do it then. All right, so we're using a promise resolve, and then need to decide what the best pattern is for this. So I'm saying the person.js module, we're going to call this module and use the arrow function. And so that what we're saying is that we're going to have a variable called module, that's what's returned from our promise, and it will be accessible by that name module. So person.js is person, just like I had to do person.person before. And then because it's defined externally, it should apply it, but I'm not sure about async resolution. So we're going to find out. So let's see, do we have anything in session storage? We do. So if we hit refresh now, we should get Harry Potter populated. Well, we've got an error. Populate character from. Because populate character data from session storage. I guess what we can do is we can we'll call this in here. And then what we would need is we need person.name, person.gender, person.age, person.status. Where do we go? Person.status down here. Identifier person has already been declared. We're at on line 64. Populate character data from session. I cannot read name of undefined. Okay. Live reload data. Okay. Loading character data. We've got Harry Potter 11 male, and then we've got person. Or let's check in here. So that works. Yeah. Let's see. Call async function DOM event handler. How can we do that? Okay, we've got async function, get me some data. Looks very similar to my function name. Add an event listener. We just need to create an anonymous async function that does that. Okay. Cool. So this is async. This is async, which I knew it is. I was trying to get around it. And okay, let person equals import equals await import person. My hesitation early on knew that that wasn't going to work, but my my parentheses in the right spot. And then all right, I think we're getting close now. See what happens. Okay, we've got something going on. First, let's check the status of, oops, not security application. Let's check the status of our session storage. Okay, everything looks good. Harry Potter, Mail, 11 Wizard. Let's go back to our console. We'll hit refresh just for fun. Okay, so we're getting the information from the session storage. No problem there. Unknown status. Okay. Oh, that's just like undefined. And male and female is not selected because it's undefined as well. Okay. So let's make sure we've got person class. I may have made a mistake here in setting that up. Okay. We've got person class. Why is it saying unknown status before that? Because we need to await. Hey, and voila! Accept status isn't working. Okay, so here we have magical equals wizard. We want magical to equal true. I think we need to do some refactoring on our person status, our person class, right? Actually, I like how it has true and false, and then we have this get type. Maybe we change this to get status. That's probably going to break a test somewhere. So I'm going to hop over here. Let's look at our tests. Test specs, model, person spec. Okay. Let's run it. So we're going to do Mocha test specs model person spec. Error not supported. What's not supported? Is it using import? What I did is I deleted all my dependencies, reinstalled. Maybe a newer version of Node or of Mocha will work with a newer version of Node. Let's look at my package JSON and see what we've got. Okay, we've got WebDriver IO, we've got Mocha. Oh, it's building Chrome driver. All right, so, oh, and I bet I know what it was. It was actually probably the wrong version of Node. Or the wrong version of Mocha. So I go to my node modules directory .bin, access Mocha from there. Okay, should have magical trait set true for wizard and for witch. Okay, so it's okay. My person model is fine, but my form in my application, right? If person okay, so status is going to return muzzle or wizard or witch. So I've got a problem there that it expects wizard or witch. I may be putting too much logic into that. But let's go ahead and good news is my test didn't break. Let's look in here. Let's change status to the value. We don't want the value to be wizard. Well, actually, maybe we can get around this. We can do true or false for Let's look at this again. This magical equals wizard. So what I want to do is I want to store true or false in here and return wizard or witch, right? I guess what I can do is I can say if magical equals false. Let's try that out. Then let's try and change this around. If we change our status to, oh, we're saving the status as wizard or witch. Let's look at setting the status. Maybe I don't have, thought I had some logic, but I might have deleted it, or it might have been in a different implementation where it saves it so as true or false, or maybe that was on my form. But the idea being that it would accept different values, right? It would accept true, it would accept false, it would accept wizard or witch. I think I might have deleted that. But let's go ahead and do this. So what we're going to do is or value equals false. We're going to go ahead and return value directly. If value equals wizard or value equals witch, we're going to return true. If value, having trouble translating between Java and JavaScript. JavaScript test if string. Typo, okay. If is it capitalized? Nope. Let's do this. Value equals value to lowercase. We're just going to cast it directly there. And that way we can say if value. Let's see, can we do that with switch JavaScript? JavaScript. Okay, this is going to be the last thing. JavaScript switch string. Okay, good. We can do that. That's what I thought. So what we'll do is switch, which is a way of doing multiple comparisons. So we would say case wizard, get our indentation right here. That's why you use tabs instead of spaces, kids. Case wizard, true. Case which, return true. Case muggle, return true, or I mean false. And then default, we will return undefined. It's crying for its own object, huh? All right, so we're checking that it's valid, and then we will process that. All right, so now when magical comes in, we're going to cast true or false. This is not JavaScripty. I'm adding too much type definition than I should. I should probably check this somewhere else and allow my person class to be clean. But I've done it. So let's find out if I broke anything. And then if I did, well, we'll quit. And then we need to reload. There we go, Muggle. And then, of course, if we do this, then we're going to get undefined. And we go back to wizard. So it worked. A rare case of something working on the first try. We still did not get the application sent, but I learned something, and I hope you were amused by my education. All right, so let's go ahead and let's see, what have we got? We modified accepted, apply, hello. The hello scripts can be removed. Application person, apply to Hogwarts, which was deleted. I guess I haven't pushed it, or I haven't committed that since then. Refactor, apply, process. Populate character form if data exists in session. Say pre-populate. And then add magical validation to person class. So it always saves true or false. Or unknown. All right, let's go ahead and push that, and we'll call that a day. Let me stop recording. Well, actually, do you have any comments, Divya, or anything you'd like to say here at the end?
Yeah, I like the session today. It was interesting.
Yeah, I managed to do a little cleanup since we got going, but I kind of got sidetracked. Now that I've got my my modules working, which is something I don't think I've ever done from scratch in JavaScript before. You know, if I'm using a framework, all this stuff is hidden. Being able to import modules and stuff, that the framework takes care of loading things. And then in the past, you just avoid using modules, right? You just load all of your JavaScript up front and let the cards fall where they may. So right now, our person object probably isn't worth loading as a module. We might not even need a person object, right? We could probably get by with just the way we originally had it, with the character name, age, etc., in the local storage instead of the session storage. But part of what we're trying to do is learn things here. And I don't know if you learned anything, but I definitely did by the last several days of struggling through learning to use the new import, export, the modules in the browser, in Node.js. From the server side, it's a lot simpler to import. And I think that's because Babel takes care of all that for you. Babel is the transpiler that takes it'll turn TypeScript into vanilla JavaScript, or it'll turn all these other things. But anyway, the idea here is we're trying to learn how to do things from scratch. And then probably what we'll do when we revisit the front end of the app is the framework I'm really liking the most is Svelte, which is really more of a UI component framework. But the only two frameworks I know of that really handle all the state and the data validation and transforms are AngularJS and EmberJS. You know, React has an ecosystem of many different tools that can handle all these sorts of functions. You've got React with Redux and a whole bunch of different state engines and lots of different pieces. That's one thing I don't like about React is there are so many different pieces that you can plug in with React.js. You can just, use create React app to put together a bunch of them, but there's just a lot of different moving pieces, and it takes understanding a lot of them to even get the basics going. Whereas React itself it's just a template system, and I'd rather use Vue.js or Svelte.js if I'm going to just be creating web components. But the React ecosystem obviously can do everything you want, but of course you can do everything with plain JavaScript and HTML and CSS. Let's see. So we still need to get our send application working. I'll try and get that working on my own. And then tomorrow, the goal for tomorrow is to go to Diagon Alley, to visit the shops, and to add items to our inventory to get a robe, to get a magic wand, to get books and cauldrons and money, and all those things. All these precursors to getting our game going, but hopefully we'll build the abilities up. And then next time, I don't know, after the end of this week, maybe we'll keep going, but I don't have anything scheduled and I have a lot of other stuff on my plate. So I might take a week off and then we'll decide what to do. But by then it'll be Christmas time. And I don't know how big that is for you, but around here, there's lots of other things to do, Christmas, family, and community activities, as well as work. So we'll see you tomorrow. We'll try and finish up this application process and get to Diagon Alley. And take care.